This next panel will be Funding Your Future, Financing Strategies for Small Business, being moderated by and in participation with Dr. Stefanenko, I hope I said that right, I'm sorry, and Mr. Hector Cerna and Ms. Gina Palma. If we could please give them a round of applause. Funding Your Future.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Yes, thank you. My name is Inessa Stepanenko. For the purposes of this session, I'm Cindy Solano. You'll see that on the schedule. I'm actually sitting in for my coworker who was supposed to moderate the session and was not able to make it. I work for the U.S. Small Business Administration, which is a federal agency that was found in early 50s, and our mission is simple, is to support the American dream and help small businesses start up, establish, grow, and thrive. Our office, the San Antonio District Office, is located in San Antonio. However, our jurisdiction is 55 counties, including Eagle Pass, Del Rio, San Antonio, Austin, Laredo, and all the way to Victoria. I'm here today moderating Funding Your Future, Financing Strategies for Small Business, and this is what SBA is mostly known for. I'm going to introduce the panelists and let them give you the introduction and their bios, and then I'll ask a couple of questions. But the goal for our session is actually to make it more interactive. We'll give you an opportunity to ask questions of us, and that way we'll have a little bit of a livelier discussion. So the first panel participant is Gina Palma. She is the Senior Business Development Officer with LiftFund, which is one of our key resource partners, a microlender that works within the district and is headquartered in San Antonio. And the second speaker is Hector Cerna. He is the President and CEO of International Bank of Commerce in Eagle Pass. And I'll start with Gina. If you can please introduce yourself and let us know a little bit more about your background and experience with small business and lending.
Well, hello, my name is Gina Palma, and I am the Senior Business Development Officer at LiftFund. I bring over 15 years of experience in the private sector, and I began my career with the Laredo Chamber of Commerce as a membership coordinator. And then I later joined the LiftFund team, where I've been dedicated myself to help small business access the funding they need to grow. I am deeply committed to the LiftFund mission and would like to continue to help the underserved entrepreneurs through small business funding and resources that drive the economic opportunity.
Thank you, Gina. Can you hear me? Yes, thank you, Gina. One thing that I wanted to mention and publicly thank LiftFund, with Gina representing this microlender. LiftFund was one of the first responders when the Hill Country disaster has happened, mainly in Kerrville, July 4th, 2025. LiftFund worked with many private, public, federal agencies to create interest-free loans to help citizens, small business owners, and residents of Hill Country to be able to go back into their regular lives and give them a little bit of hope as far as rebuilding their small businesses with the help of the finances. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hector, if you please introduce yourself.
Yes, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. I thank the governor's office for the invitation, and we hope this will be as good a panel as the one right before us. My name is Hector Cerna, and I, like Katrina earlier, had the great honor of moving back to Eagle Pass back about 35 years ago. Local graduate of Eagle Pass High, and University of Texas in Austin. And after working in banking for about 10 years, I had an opportunity to move to Eagle Pass to run a small bank that was later sold, somewhat of the exit strategy that was discussed about earlier. And I've been with IBC Bank for the last 24 years. So lots of experience in dealing with small business lending, large lending, real estate transactions, real estate companies, and just the wide range of community banking products with banks that are not just community, but also larger. And so I guess we're somewhat well learned over the years in terms of what small businesses need to grow and thrive. Just a quick anecdote. While studying at the University of Texas in Austin, I signed across the street from my dormitory that said "Tellers Wanted," and started a banking career almost 40 years. But something that continues to change and that we have to continue to adapt to is precisely technology. And I was what was called a walk-up teller, where I was inside the bank lobby, and people on the sidewalk would walk up, and you'd take care of their transactions. And one day, after about 3 or 4 months, I get a call saying I've got some good news and bad news. Well, the bad news was that my job was being eliminated due to technology. And I didn't understand what that meant. It was called an ATM, an automated teller machine. I said, oh, that stuff will never work. People want to deal with individuals, but obviously it was one of the stupidest things I've ever said, because it made us a lot more efficient and made the world a lot more efficient by doing that. But so I'm the results of technology, but it pushed me to go forward and continue in the industry. The good news was that I was able to stay, but in any event, technology should be part of what we'll be discussing today as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you, Hector. The first question, I'm going to start with you, and it's specific to Maverick County, where Eagle Pass is located. What economic factors are specific to Maverick County that are affecting small businesses, in your opinion?
Well, there's no question that the elephant in the room in terms of Maverick County is the fact that we've had a post-pandemic issue. We had a lot of government intervention at the federal level, and it was something that obviously we're still suffering a little bit of a hangover from that. There was benefits, and unfortunately, a sad situation when we had the surge of immigrants that came through. So the reality of Maverick County and Eagle Pass is that we are a community that thrives with cross-border trade, and we can take advantage of that. There are opportunities where many folks don't realize that at times Maverick County and Eagle Pass in particular, is the number one or the number two rail port in the country. What does that mean? In terms of the value of the products that are imported and exported through our port, we range from number one to number two. Number one, Laredo; number two, Eagle Pass. And the value of the products that are being transported through the port of Eagle Pass, extremely important. A lot of folks don't really know that, but there's grain, there's going into Mexico, there's beer coming back into the States, there's auto parts that go into Mexico, and completed vehicles come in. How does that work, and what is unique about that? Well, not any community can boast that they're one of the top two ports in the country. So understanding that small businesses that can cater to that type of operation, there's opportunities available, and that's just one of the unique things. Obviously, the unique thing is that we're a border community. I like to share, and I actually shared it yesterday evening, that living in a border community is different, and it's different from folks, with all due respect, in Austin, And DC sometimes don't understand us, just like folks in the capital of Coahuila, Saltillo, and Ciudad de Mexico, they don't understand what it is to living in the community. But we come and go on a regular basis, and it's just a way of life. So there's great opportunities in cross-border trade in this community.
Thank you. Gina, the next question is for you. What criteria does LiftFund prioritize when evaluating small business loan applications?
Well, the main criteria, and I think this is across the board when any business is looking for some funding or lending when it comes to their loan application, is, I'm pretty sure many of you have heard of it, are the 5 C's of credit. You know, we focus ourselves on your character, on your capacity, the capital, the collateral, and the conditions. For instance, your character, what is your reputation for paying debt? We do review your credit. We want to see that you're paying everything on time. The capacity as well, your debt to income ratio, you know, bring in your financials, your income taxes, or if you're a startup business, bring in your business plan with your financial projections. Capital, do you have capital set aside if you're purchasing something, or if you're looking to purchase an acquisition, or you're looking to purchase equipment, or even if you're looking for a building, do you have that 10% there, you know, in your savings, or have you already opened a business bank account? Collateral, do you have anything that you can secure the note that you're seeking? And your conditions, your external factors, terms of the loan that will affect your ability. So we really pay attention to those 5 C's and to see your response to it, and if you're ready to also to provide the documentation needed for us to begin that business application.
Thank you. Hector, next question is for you. What are the most common reasons small business loan applications are rejected? And how can small business owners proactively address them before they come to the International Bank of Commerce for financing?
Okay. Since I'm unaware of the audience level of business acumen, I'm going to suggest that we should open it to questions as well. There may be some questions out there that
Absolutely.
I think the last panel didn't have a chance to have that interaction, but perhaps that can help as well. To answer the question specifically, I think is lack of preparedness, quite frankly. There's something that, again, over the years, we've learned that one of the, in terms of the application, initial application and request is concerned, it's definitely a lack of preparedness. In other words, Gina mentioned to have a business plan, and I think we need to do, sometimes the small business person acts and they're doers, and that's fantastic because that entrepreneurial spirit does that. But at times it's what am I going to do, or what am I going to do today versus what should I do today? But when you present a plan to any partner or bank, whether it be a potential equity partner or a bank, is to do your homework and do the research, and you have to have a business plan ready. We like to say we don't like to paper things to death, but at the same time, did you do your homework? Did you study the marketplace? And where do you really want to be? There's a difference between a startup and growing your business. So that's why I say I don't know the true mix of the audience today. Questions in terms of startups versus a business that needs that additional working capital. But we should use SBDCs. We should take advantage of the cities of the world and say, help me prepare a package. But you have to have a little bit, well, I shouldn't say you have to have. It is important to understand accounting. It is important to have those partners, whether it be an accounting professional or a legal professional. And yes, absolutely, a bank that understands being on that side of the table. When you're prepared, you've done your homework, sometimes it's a feasibility study from a third party, but typically smaller business people don't have the capital to go out and get the feasibility study from a professional. It's going to be, may charge them thousands of dollars, but that can be done by the individual's desire to study the market and really put it in writing, because you need to memorialize it to understand where you want to go, and once you get to a certain point, go back and review it. So applications, as you call them, loan requests, ones that aren't prepared and didn't really study the market closely enough, are the ones that are more likely to be turned down. Those that have done their homework and that have answered the questions before they're asked. Now, again, small business owners, the big challenges are yes, building enough capital to be able to extrapolate the capital in the form of debt. And then really the biggest challenge is well, that's talking about applications, but patience is a huge thing. And you have to have the patience to see it through, because there's rules of thumb, but you may last a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but it doesn't make that the business will continue. But once you've made it to 5 years, you're probably going to be around. You've probably figured it out. So it's a matter of balancing capital with equity, and how you get that equity is probably a different question.
Thank you, Hector. And thank you for mentioning SBDC again. And we can't say enough about the Small Business Development Center and the value it brings to your community. Thank you, Dr. Sengupta, Cynthia, and your team for having the relationship and the opportunity to prepare small businesses. And remember, services that they provide are free of cost. There is no cost to get help with the business plan, marketing plan, look over some of the paperwork before you actually go and apply for that loan, and help you get prepared in a position to be a stronger candidate. The other resource I want to mention real quickly is the Veterans Business Center. We have another key resource partner. Juan, raise your hand. So if you're a veteran, if you are a spouse of the veteran, same goes for you. There's a specific business center that's close to you geographically that you can obtain services for free. And if you're a veteran, I'm not saying just go to the Veterans Business Center, still go to SBDC, because you will have two different opinions, two different advice that you'll get. So just know that the services are available and they're absolutely free. With that, as I mentioned when I started with my introduction, we want to make it more interactive. So before I have a list of about 20 questions, which I don't think we get to ask. I want to hear from the audience. Like, raise your hand if you have had SBA loan, or if you're seeking an SBA loan, and hopefully you'll have a question for the panel. So raise your hand if you have had or you're thinking of getting an SBA loan. Okay, so not as much as anticipated. Raise your hand if you have had or you're thinking about obtaining 8A certification to sell to the U.S. government on the federal level. Okay, 1, 2 hands. We need to fix that because there's a lot of opportunity to sell to not just #1 buyer in the United States, but internationally, worldwide. So definitely come by and talk with us at the SBA table after the panel. So anybody has questions for the panelists? We have a microphone. Brian, if you can assist. Let's make it interactive. Okay, good.
So, sorry. I guess this microphone's a little stronger. For guess, Ms. Palma or Mr. Cerna, what if you encounter the worst case scenario? Let's say a person has absolutely no credit, maybe they have a criminal history, maybe they have no mom and dad in the picture, no friends, nobody to give them any sort of funding immediately. How are they able to source, fund their small business idea if they have absolutely no money themselves, no any means with it, or any good credit score? What would you suggest to them, like crowdfunding or some sort of other way to do it, or anything come to mind?
Well, it's interesting that you asked me that question, because I may refer them to LiftFund. but truly, that's a great question, because folks will have, perhaps someone with limited means that has a great idea, and those great ideas, have to gel. And yes, it takes capital. I think one of the prior, I think it was one of the prior panelists indicated that it takes capital. A great idea doesn't mean you'll get funded. However, if you, as I said earlier, do your homework and build a business plan, then you could seek a partner. It is truly interesting that there are opportunities out there, whether it be on the private side or the public side, and I will absolutely yield to Gina, because that is what LiftFund is for. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not bankable, or that situation isn't bankable, because having a good business plan and understanding what that particular perhaps startup would be could lead to getting equity partners. And whether it's a micro business, a small business, or something can grow into a larger business. But sometimes it needs a kickstart, and that I will yield to Gina.
Okay, yes. My recommendation is to come sit with us at LiftFund, and with me, would start to make a plan. In my end, having no credit does not mean you are not a good repaying client. It just means that you haven't started your credit. So maybe I'm a good source for you to start your credit. But before we even decide to start a credit, I would recommend you visit your local SBDC, visit Cindy, visit Marcela, talk to them and make a plan with them. What type of business you're looking to start. Start a business plan with them, your financial projections, create a history. Then come back to me and show me your plan, and maybe we can start you with something. We can start you with some sort of credit. Now, when I say some sort of credit, maybe it won't be a loan in the 100,000s, but maybe with a $5,000 note or even a $10,000 note to start your business. But I already see something that you have in writing and a partner that you're working with, so we can get you to that business, to get you to a successful business, and then graduate you to a bank. Because of course, when you come with a CDFI like LiftFund, we do take an extra risk on our clients, because we work with clients with low credits, or we work with clients with limited capacity, so our rates are a little bit higher. And we don't offer the awesome perks the banks do, right? Like deposits and so on, but we will get you there as long as you're willing to take the work in, to actually work on it, work on your business plan, and continue growing that plan.
And I guess you keep in mind that risk versus reward. Obviously, an individual or a small business with poor paying habits represents a larger risk. Prime rate today is like 7.5%. That's a small percent relative to what a partner would look for. Someone that, individual equity would be looking for 15 or 20% return. So yes, it is, it is a challenge, there's no question about it, but if it's a good product or service that you're offering and a good business plan, you'll find the funding.
Thank you, Hector. And to go back to your comment, patience, that would be the key, and perseverance. Because if you have the idea, if you have a way to sell that idea, commercialize it, there's nothing going to stand between you and where you want to be. So as long as you persist and you're patient at doing what you're told to do and not expecting other people, LiftFund or the banks to do it for you, you'll get where you need to get. Thank you for the question.
Dr. Stepanenko and Mr. Cerna, could you briefly give an overview of how the Guarantee Loan Program works with SBA and a banking lending partner?
A very brief, as far as the capital for the SBA. So you would think that SBA actually gives you the money, gives you the check. We don't do that. So we have the guarantee with the banks, microlenders, federal credit unions, and we have that relationship to ensure that whoever is not able to get credit on their own is able to obtain an SBA loan through any of our providers, lending providers, and then assist them with whatever next steps may be. But we don't actually provide the funding. The only time SBA writes a check is at the time of the disaster. So PPP loans, if you remember those through COVID, SBA came through on that disaster, Texas flood, so that's the only time that SBA will actually provide lending themselves, but it's not a complete amount that an individual, a small business owner may need to recover. It's more of what FEMA does first, and then we fill in the blank between the insurance payout and FEMA, and that's when the SBA steps in.
If I may, it's added value. The SBA adds that extra incentive, if you will, for a lender, whether it's a 7A or 504, to perhaps a business that's growing, yet there hasn't been a lot of equity built. Some small businesses, you're growing, but you're also spending, and you're not accumulating a lot of equity. So you may have been in business for 5 or 10 years, but everything's being produced to pay salaries, both for your staff and yourself, and you may still need that extra oomph, if you will, and that's when SBA comes in and provides that additional guarantee to banks. So that's part of it as well. The SBA guarantee doesn't make your business better. It just allows you to grow and allows you to add a lower amount of equity out of your pocket and a longer-term amortization because of the guarantee.
Thank you, Hector. And it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get the loan. You still have to qualify and meet all the criteria. And SBA loan may not be the best option for you, and sometimes it's not the best option for the banks because they have other potentially loans available, and that's okay. You choose what works best for you, and we're here to support it with microlenders, banks, and federal credit unions. Thank you for the question. Anybody else?
All right, I have one. Where's the free money?
Where's what?
The free money.
Oh, where's free money?
I can answer that question. And I'm going to date myself by sharing with you that in 1980, I had an economics course at the University of Texas in Austin. And when I walked in for the first day, there was a sign on the chalkboard, and the letters spelled Tanskaffel. TANSCAFL, and the professor said, I'm going to teach y'all something you're going to learn for the rest of your life, and it's great. It's a great value. Can anybody tell me what TANSCAFL means? No one knew what TANSCAFL means. And it means that there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. There is no free money anywhere. There is a cost of capital. And so I'm going to say there's no free money, but there may be some kind of a help out there. But in terms of everything costs, and it costs somebody something.
And I would have to agree when I had introduced VBOC, the Veterans Business Center, or SBDC, the Small Business Development Centers, I had mentioned that the services are free. But actually, they're at no cost because as a taxpayer, you prepaid for those services. So again, there's nothing free, Brian, but if you find free money, please let us know. Was there a question?
I have a question, maybe for Hector, not to put you on the spot, but you've been a banker for a long time. One of the concepts that exists outside the U.S. is Garbine Bank. The Nobel Prize winner, Dr. Yunus.
I'm going to ask you, could you?
Garbine Bank. He built an entire bank in Bangladesh to serve that part on micro-lending and microfinancing. The U.S. banking regulations, so far, I have not found a bank that is looking into microfinancing in the same way. And what they did there was jump-started the startup business. They have a loan default rate of less than 2%.
Wow.
And it has been written out, all over the world. Harvard Business Case Study. He's currently the president of Bangladesh. Do you foresee the U.S. banking sector shifting, where there is going to be a bank that will emerge on micro-lending?
Again, I'll respond by saying there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. And the reality is, if you're talking about, a bank is a business and it's owned by individuals just like you. And if you're talking about maybe you're talking about a development bank that's partially funded by our taxpayers that targets micro-lending. So if you ask me if there's going to be a shift, that's more of a program versus the banking industry itself. There's a cost of capital. And I started with a question on who gets turned down, who gets approved. Well, those that are more prepared get a chance to review the packages quickly. If you have a package that is not prepared thoroughly, well, you're going to put it aside and see the one that is done thoroughly. There are LiftFunds, there are SBDC groups. There might be some micro-lending type banks that are supported by federal and state dollars that would assist in that. But I quite frankly, and we do have requirements as the banking industry. We have requirements to reach out and be involved in terms of financial literacy for the communities in which we operate. And we do that and we help out. But when you say it doesn't make any sense when you have someone, a financial institution charging 2% when you're paying 5%. I mean, that the math doesn't add. So that must be a program that's funded by the federal or state government in order to help out. There's lots of different avenues, and again, I'll repeat with the SBDC Center that to give folks the opportunities to prepare before going to a partner or a financial institution. But that particular question is more, I think, for a government sector than the private sector.
Thank you for the question. I'm going to ask the next question. Are there any specific industries, Gina, and I'll ask Hector the same question of you, that you're more willing to finance now? We are living in interesting times, So is there any industry that you're more interested in financing? Or maybe top three, let's.
Well, I think us as LiftFund, we are open to all type of businesses, to be quite frank. We're open to startup businesses, we're open to existing businesses who are in need of some capital. The main industries in our area that we come across is a lot of the import industry, forwarding agencies, anything having to deal with export, that's pretty much our bread and butter. But we are open to restaurants, daycares, even if you're starting a business and you're working out of your home and you're online selling, we're willing to fund you as long as you're prepared with the documentation that we request and you're prepared to do your homework and follow our guide. We are willing to fund any type of business.
Thank you, Gina. Hector, if you can answer the
Yes.
question as well.
Well, as a community bank, we're here to serve our community needs. And to specify 2 or 3 industries that we cater to, I think is a mistake. We're open to the uniqueness of each community in which we operate. Sometimes it takes you into manufacturing, sometimes it takes you into service, and sometimes it takes you into real estate, and there's all kinds of different industries. I think a mistake also for our industry is to select industries that you don't want to finance. And that, of course, is something that we would not do. But the reality is those small business owners that are, and we repeat it over and over again, that are prepared and that have done their homework and that have done projections, it's something that you can do individually. You know, you maybe count traffic counts, individual crossings, license plate surveys. I mean, those are a lot of things that someone can do individually. You're prepared when and you need to gauge what level of revenue you're really trying to target, and does it make sense? Sometimes it's not magic. Common sense sometimes prevails, and unfortunately, common sense sometimes takes a vacation all too often. But that you can't do away with the common sense factor in terms of, does it make economic sense?
Thank you, Hector. And I tricked you there with the question because I wanted you to say the magic word manufacturing. Thank you. That was not rehearsed. And the only reason I'm bringing up the manufacturing is because this is coming from the White House. This is the goal for not just the SBA, Small Business Administration, but nationwide. Manufacturing is one of the businesses, if you were interested or if you're in, is definitely something that will be profitable. We are having special loan programs just for manufacturing, and manufacturing month is actually in October, so SBA is going to be doing some programming and lending opportunities for that particular industry. So thank you. And we're almost out of time, but I think there's one more question.
Hi. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yes, thank you for taking my question. But to go back to the very first question that was asked, and also the question about where's the free money, like I understand, right? Everything has a cost. And to be a part of society, we've all already paid a good amount of money, as you've said, into our taxes. Now, as I'm here as representative for a local nonprofit that we're trying to get started, which is the Border Artists Society, and we don't have any funding. All of our boards are volunteers. This year we've raised just enough money to get our paperwork filed. But as a nonprofit, how can we secure funding, as in grants, that we don't necessarily have to pay back?
Yeah.
Can I take this? Well, what I recommend is visit your local economic development center. Visit our websites. Right now, you've learned of LiftFund. Visit our website, LiftFund. Visit the SBA website. And please do your due diligence in the website to see what resources are available out there. For instance, something that was mentioned earlier when we started, for instance, Kerrville, the natural disaster that just happened. Through LiftFund, we were offering 0% loans, 0% interest loans. We continue to offer them. And there are grants available for it right now. And then sometimes there's grants for women entrepreneurs, or there's grants for a certain type of industries, but you do have to continuously look at the websites. I always tell my clients, put us as your favorites on your Google Chrome or on your Mozilla, put us as your favorites, and visit us at least once a month to see what's populating, what resources we have available, what funding we have available for your area.
And I think we're out of time. Am I correct? 2 minutes, okay. Any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one of the things that we haven't discussed, but that was alluded to in the prior panel, is the second biggest challenge. The first, I think, is patience, and to make sure you devote enough time to your business to see it to the next level. A lot of times, particularly younger entrepreneurs will jump from one thing to another without seeing it come to fruition. But the second biggest challenge, and I'm probably preaching to the choir, is the human resource side. Your biggest opportunity is human resources, but it's also your biggest challenge, and how you coordinate with your staff to take it to a different level. It's important that they know and feel human versus being a resource. And when you get to that point, then I think you're being successful. So finding something you like, finding a business you like, finding an operation that you like, and working at it hard for 20 or 30 or 40 years, guarantees you success, and you learn a lot from that. So to close, when dealing with lenders or banks, it's those that are prepared that get the attention. There's lots of competing projects out there, they're competing for time, and time is a valuable resource that you get no more of it after you use it up. So if you're prepared, you deliver a complete package, it'll be looked at quickly instead of it being piecemeal, little by little, and that'll set you apart from the next person, the next small business.
Thank you. Gina, do you have any final comments?
I would just say that no idea is a bad idea. If you have something in mind that you want to start, or if you want to think outside the box, please stop by, visit with us, talk to us, let's have that conversation, and maybe we can help you. Please take advantage that we're here, take advantage of visiting us, SBA, SBDC, me, and LiftFund. I would be more than glad to help you and give you a little bit more information on our products.
Thank you. And closing on behalf of SBA, just remember, you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to be struggling, making mistakes, all the challenges. Think of us as your extended family. I know families are important. Eagle Pass and this community, we're the extended family. We're there to help you, and we don't want you to fail. We want you to succeed. So all these resource partners, the governor's office, we all are here. Our only reason to be in business is to help small businesses start up and grow. So thank you for all your questions. Thank you, Hector. Thank you, Gina. Appreciate your time, and please stop by and talk to us.